Hello, my name is Alex Ramirez, and today I will be discussing everything I learned in this class. So there are many types of speech, and some of the speeches are informative, persuasive, as well as entertaining. And sometimes entertaining could be both of informative as well as persuasive. So starting off, what is an informational speech? An informational speech is basically when you teach your audience about a certain topic or concept and list unbiased information. So you must only state factual information with the purpose of informing your listeners. And you have to say your speech with no opinion as well as having no attitude towards the subject. It must be a way to teach the audience or describe something as well as giving a speech on the idea. You must be sure to explain the importance of the topic as well as to be specific and go in detail with all your evidence. The evidence must be factual, of course, and prove the credibility of yourself. One thing important while doing an informative speech is that you must prove to your audience why you are a credible source, as well as why the information and evidence you are listing is also credible. This way, the audience will give you more of their faith, and you're able to actually inform them on this topic that you have done your research on. It's better to be well informed in your topic and do research in it so you could be more of a credible source. Moving on, what's the next type of speech? Next type of speech is persuasive speech, and this type of speech is your ability to argue and convince the audience to accept your point of view or opinion. So you must be able to guide what your audience is thinking and also promote their way of thinking to be more like yours. And this is done by using ethos, pathos, logos, and kairos. It means that you must be a credible speaker and use logic to tie in your argument and make it seem like most of your make your opinion look like a logical decision. And you must also incite emotion to capture the audience's attention as well as make the argument significant to them. So according with ethos, pathos, logos, and kairos, you must be able to be credible as a source and why it ties to them, to you, and also how you're able to emotionally connect with the audience to make it more appealing to their emotions so they could hear your opinion. And next, it's about being logical, why your opinion or what your speech seems logical. So moving on to the next type of speech, it's entertaining speech. So basically, an entertaining speech is being able to captivate and provide an amusing speech to your audience. You can also deliver a message with this speech or have a point of amusing the audience and showing them a good time in an emotional way. Some of the entertaining speeches are to inspire the audience. It is important to be prepared and know the occasion so you could cater your speech to the event. Like, for example, say you're going to give a speech at a wedding. Of course, you want to not talk about something else or make any type of jokes. Or, for example, you're at a ceremony for a tragic event. You don't just be saying jokes out of nowhere. It's important to understand where you're going to be saying your speech and understand what the event is for or who your audience is. So the introduction should focus on what the topic is about and why they should listen, and then explain your credibility for your speech, as well as stating any different points that would amuse your audience. Overall, it just should be a good time for the audience and being able to amuse them. Verbal speech is the way you deliver your sentence and speak, and how you speak. So it's important that however you deliver your speech is based on the way you speak and what you do during the speech. So now getting into my point of verbal speech is your way to be able to project your voice to sound clearer and louder for the audience to hear. It is also important to have a punctuation in how you say your sentence to add more emotion, as well as having a pauses to make the presentation more impactful and as well paced. It's also important to use vivid language with descriptive detail and having a good storytelling. This way you're able to hold on to the retention of your readers and of your audience, and just overall state more of your speech with a bigger purpose. And you also must follow a steady rate with pauses and minimize vocalized fillers. So this could be like how I just did right now. You want to make sure you know your speech like the back of your hand so it could be more smoothly and you don't lose any of the retention of the speaker. Another type of delivery. Now moving on is nonverbal delivery. So this is how you use your facial expressions and body posture during your speech to prove your point. It is important that you use gestures to engage with your audience, as well as a tone of voice and good timing to keep the audience attentive to what you say. It's also important to understand that the space from you and to the audience could also impact the way your audience receives your information. So sometimes having personal space could rely on the culture of the people. So going on, the Tula model is basically a form of argument in which you're able to add concrete evidence to your audience and make it seem more of a type of way so no one can rebuttal your argument. So the argument is broken down in many ways, with the claim, the evidence, and why it's significant to the audience. The claim is what you're going to be arguing, and the grounds is the data or the evidence you're going to use to support your claim. And the warrant is what you use when you tie the data to your claim. So it's important to use these methods to make your argument sound more reliable. At the conclusion, this is where you're able to remind the audience of what you spoke and what main ideas you hit on. It is a way to add an ending to the speech and either have an audience give a take on your audience, or have them take an action to your case, or leave them with a question. It is important to state and give hints on the end when the ending is coming, with your rate of speech, as well as the tone of how you are saying your speech to make the final statements. You must emphasize the statement and review the points. You can also refer back to the attention getter. And presentation aids are basically able to enhance your speech and provide a visual image to the audience so they can get a more broader picture of what you're trying to say. Basically, you can use different aids such as graphs, pictures, diagrams, and such. And it helps with the audience because they are able to have a more understanding and improve their retentions of what they take in from your speech. And some of the guidelines of making this is that less words are more, and it's important to use legible fonts so the readers understand what you're saying. And at the end, it's important to always have academic citations, as you must be able to prove your information to be credible and give credit to the evidence. Thank you.